everyone. So I'm back this year again. Last year I was here as well, and Gabor asked me, or I could talk a little bit about how can we become better at that everybody uses our ATS specifically. But I think I'm going to have a little bit of wider talk. So I want to talk about how do we now make sure that the people we work with actually follow our processes and use the technology that we have for them. And not only, right, so first of all, the recruitment department itself, but then also our entire hiring community. All right, so before I dive in, I want to introduce myself. I think he already introduced me a little bit. My Hungarian is not all the best. So I'm Tony de Graaf, really Dutch last name. But I live in Berlin, Germany, where I work for SmartRecruiters. And yes, we are an ATS or a hiring platform. I'm not going to talk about that today. I'm going to talk about what I do and my team does, because I'm the global director of hiring success. Sounds sexy because we're an American company, so everyone has an amazing job title and no one knows what we do. So I will explain it. So I lead our global strategy consulting practice. So I myself and everyone in my team, we're former TA leaders, and we work with TA teams around the world to help them improve their recruitment practices. And this can be small organizations from 400 people all the way to organizations that operate globally with more than 500,000 employees. And the type of questions that we get or the type of work that we do. For example, we're now working with an organization that said, we want to roll out a referral plan. We have some ideas, but can you help us build it into a plan? And can you help us how we actually communicate this to the organization? Yeah, sure. Or we have a CRM. We bought one. We have some people in there, but we really want to become better at how we build talent communities and actually use these communities to make hires. Yeah, sure, we can do that. But also the larger part of the larger question. So some organizations we work with, they ask us, we want to actually learn how to continuously improve and run this TA transformation. We also do that. So we help them build a recruitment strategy. We help them build a vision. We help them build a roadmap. And then we work with these organizations. So some organizations we work already with for 6 years on weekly or bi-weekly basis. So we do it all. And I myself, this is my first non-recruiting job in my life. I've always been in recruitment, classic recruiter career. Everyone went here also, probably you went to school and you say, later when I grow up, you want to become a recruiter. Same here. So classic, started on the agency side, done all the agency jobs. Then I was head of recruitment for multiple fashion brands in Europe and the head of talent of one of the largest e-commerce companies in the Netherlands. And I bought and implemented 3 ATSs in my career. You can make an educated guess which was the last one, SmartRecruiters, right? So, how to improve ATS usage, or how do we get people to follow our processes and technology? I want to cut it up into 4 pieces. First, why should we care about this topic? Then, what does best practice look like? And I want to summarize that best practice in, okay, I think these is the triangle of things that you really need to start looking into if you want to drive on this topic. And then that can still be very big. I like to end all my talks always with super practical tips. What can you start doing tomorrow? So how to get started. So first of all, I can't talk about why it is important before I dive into this topic, because it's not specifically about the ATS. It is what we want to do. If you want people to follow your process or technology, we're changing people's behavior. We're influencing people. And if we're trying to change the behavior of people, we need to have a story. And you can't just say, you need to follow my process because it is the process. And people just say no, right? So we need to have a little bit more of a story around that. And what I see that works really well is that from a talent acquisition perspective, we need to change how we talk about what we do for the organization. So if somebody asks me as a TA leader what I do, I don't say, I fill open roles or I do recruitment. Like, yeah, that's what we do from Monday to Friday, but that is not the value we create for our organization. Because if we're responsible for filling jobs, and that is the value we create, probably everyone here in the room has more people in their ATS than you have open roles. And if we fill roles, just fill the roles with the first person. You close them all and we can go all home. Sounds ridiculous. Yes, because it is. So that is not the value that we create. The value that we create as recruiters or recruitment department is how well we actually fill those open roles at the right time with the right person. So the value that we create is not the work what we do in our department, but the effect of our work in the business. So the value of TA is connected to our business impact, if you will. And I can even take that one step further, because I genuinely think that we, as recruiters and TA teams, we actually enable the business strategy of our organization. And it sounds big. What I mean with that, our organization has a goal for a year, 3 years, right? There's something set out that they want to achieve. Every department has their individual goals. Every team, so every hiring manager has their individual goals. So the individual hiring manager has some goals to achieve, and they need to do that with the people that they have. We are responsible to make sure they have the right people. So for me, also a conversation on a job intake is I need a marketeer. Oh, okay, do you have a job description? No, my conversation starts, great. What is your goal? What are your targets this quarter or this year? This is what I want to understand first. If I understand that, my follow-up question is always, how comfortable are you that you think you're going to achieve it with these bunch of people you have right now? Now we have an empty chair. Awesome. How do we want to fill that chair? What competencies and what skills do you want on that chair so you feel more comfortable so that you can achieve those goals? So we're not just responsible for filling roles. That is what we then do next. But if we do this very well, we build great teams. We make hiring managers, we put them in a better position so they can achieve their goals. That's generally what I believe that I can do for an organization. So this is a change of mindset. And I always use this slide. I really like it. You should never take yourself too serious in life, for one. But this is I like it because this depicts the talent acquisition journey we're all on, right? I myself as well, I've grown up in talent acquisition, it being a cost center. We were involved in nothing. We just get an open role and do something with it. Get me candidates. And we process some pipelines, we make some shortlists, and hiring managers do what they do. This is the classic where recruitment is coming from. So I can promise you, even the most beautiful brands on the planet are struggling with this, from being this cost center and being this order takers to fill roles, to become really that difference maker, to really become that talent advisor. Everyone is struggling with this right now. All right, so it's okay that if I just talk about how that change in mindset is like, yeah, maybe I should do that too, or we should do that more too. Every TA team on the planet is struggling with this. So yes, we need to go from becoming faster and cheaper to more better and strategic. So back to how do we drive to that people actually follow the processes and use the technology that we put in place for them. And this is why I needed to take this sidetrack a little bit to get to this slide, because the number one is we need to have that story. You should not just use our technology because it's the process. No, I want to help you hire the right person. I want to help you and set you up with the right number of people and the right team so you can achieve your goals. That's the story. And if I want to learn how well I'm actually able to provide the right people, I need to have reliable data. Because in the data I can see, are we fast, are we slow, do we convert the right people? The data tells us the story. But if we don't use the system, the data is not reliable. And it can even be that big parts of the recruitment process are in the system, and then we look at a sourcing report and maybe 40% of your hires is through your career site, so organic. Awesome. But maybe all the hires that are being made through agencies don't even touch the ATS and they directly go into Workday and SAP and get a contract. So that 40% is incorrect. It is 100% unreliable. We don't know, is it higher, is it lower? So it is very important if we want to understand how well we actually are helping our business, everything needs to flow through the system. Else that 40% looks great on a graph, we can show it, but we know it's not the right number, right? And if we don't have reliable data, how do we know what we want, what we need to learn and how we need to improve to become better at helping our business? You don't, because it becomes way harder. So again, you need the data to identify what you want to learn. And if you don't have that, you can't become better at helping your business. You see the cycle going? So if you are in this cycle, then there is a big chance that the way you do a recruitment today is exactly the same as 12 months ago and as 12 months before that. All right? So you need to find a way to break that cycle. And number 4, obviously, ridiculously important, compliance and GDPR. I know it's a boring topic, sorry. But the moment a resume is downloaded from the ATS, it's emailed, or Slack or through Teams or printed, you are not compliant, period. It's impossible. Because if somebody requests to get their data deleted, it's still in your sent items or still in your download folder. You're not compliant. If you get audited, you do have a problem. So it's a boring driver, but it's a big driver, right? This is very important where everything needs to flow through a system, because if you then delete something, you can trust the fact that it is actually deleted. So yes, you need to break that cycle. So what does best practice look like? And I have 3 areas that I wanted to call out here. Again, remember, it's not about the ATS. We're influencing people. We're changing their behavior. So if you want people to follow a process and use your ATS, it's not a technology problem, it's a people problem. Right? So how do you do that? And immediately forget everything about this slide except for the people, process, and technology, the 3 balls. That's what I want to focus on. So if you look at best practice and you design your processes and you set up your technology, it's not that you buy a piece of technology, you configure it, and then you do an announcement on intranet or the town hall and say, hey, we have a referral tool. No. If you want to do it best practice, it always starts with people. So who needs to do something and what do we want them to do? So who needs to give referrals? Employees. What do we want them to do? We want them to use the new portal. If we agree with that, then you're going to take a look at how do we design our processes and configure our technology in such a way that we actually drive that behavior. That is the best practice way of doing it. But I do understand that 9 out of 10 times, all the processes are already in place, right? You already have a way that referrals come in. You like it or not is a different story, but there is probably already something in place. So the number 2 is get feedback. So in the entire recruitment process, literally go and sit next to people. Ask them how they do it. We can make assumptions, but ask recruiters, how do you actually post the job? Maybe they do it manually, or they use the tool in a different way than you thought. Or ask hiring managers, how do you actually communicate? So if you now have these candidates, how do you get back to the recruiter? And then they maybe send an email, they use Teams, or they use the system, or whatever that is. And the answer doesn't matter, and do not get into a discussion on telling people how to do it. No, this is observing. You're building a list of all the gaps that there are. Right? Because then you can see, have an overview, like, okay, we have this entire process, something in the front end goes wrong with job posting, some hiring manager stuff goes wrong, maybe there is some feedback that's after an interview not coming in, whatever that is. That's where you start. And then again, you go to this slide, people, process, and technology. The people piece, the people, process, and technology piece, so you look at something, did we actually build something in the way that people want to use it? Is it easy to find? And is it easy to use? And easy to find. If you have a referral tool, literally ask people, do you know where it is? Random employees, show me how you get there. Maybe it is on the HR page, on the intranet, but maybe it's a button in the corner. And then the employee goes, they click on it, like, oh, this is amazing. I did not know this was here. So you think you communicated it and you put it in the right place, but maybe from a user perspective, it's not so easy to find, right? And then maybe not so easy to use. Maybe it's a big ass button and everyone knows how to find it, but they need to fill out so many things that take 30 minutes to do a referral. Like, you know what? Screw this. You close the screen and you just send an email to the recruiter. Good luck with it, right? So we, again, always balance out people, process, and technology and find out where is that gap. We may think it is a smooth process, but maybe for an employee, it's not. I worked with an organization where we actually came to the conclusion that they created this digital referral tool, but they put it behind the login. But their entire operations part of the organization, so 70% of their employees did not even have a company email address. So how were they supposed to give their referrals? It was literally impossible because they designed the process and configured the technology and they thought, oh, this looks smooth. They didn't start with the people piece. Who needs to give these referrals? Oh, the people in the warehouse. And what do we want them to do? To go to the portal. Oh, wait. See that? And the third one, continuous improvement. If we want people to show the right behavior, it is not a one-time thing to communicate that. Right? It's not, we launch a system, we do one time a communication, and then magically every employee knows. Every employee, every organization has around 10 to 30% attrition. So 10 to 30% of your organization leaves and you have new people. And to be very honest, maybe I listen to your initial training, but it's not my main job, and maybe I forget later, right? So if we want to influence behavior, and it's the same with kids. You tell your kid one time not to do something, that works? Of course not. And we're a little bit taller now, but is it different? Not so much. So there needs to be repeat in that, right? So if we want to change behavior, you need to have a training framework in place. And specifically onboarding, so when does the person, from the people perspective, get this information for the first time? And it can be when you launch this system, then it's a big ass onboarding of the entire organization. But the day after, you probably have a new starter that missed that entire announcement. How do they get that information? Is it a video? Is it a one-pager? Is it a quarterly training? Whatever that it is. And then the ongoing training piece, we need to repeat what we do, right? When recruiters here in the room, when is the last time you had a recruiter training for your own ATS? Did anyone do one in the last 12 months? Wow. Our ATS released 250 new features last year. And the year before that as well. And the year before that as well. So there are 750 new features in the system in 3 years that you may use for the last 3 years. I don't even know all our new features. I should do more product training. That's a side note. But you need to have some ongoing training, because maybe with the best intentions of the world, we just forget. And if I do a retraining of my own ATS and the processes that we have, like, yeah, I kind of forgot that. Or yes, I should actually follow that process. So there needs to be this repeat. And then the documentation piece, because maybe I'm the best employee that goes through all the videos and everything on onboarding, and I liked it all, and I loved the referral portal, but I didn't have a referral until 7-8 months later. Do I remember exactly the referral portal intro video from 7 months later when I started working? No, I didn't. So where do I get that information? Is there a referral portal button, and then is there like a small video of 30 seconds or like a one-pager? This is how you submit it. Do this, do not do this, and this is why you need to do that. Super simple, but it needs to be there, and we tend to forget because we're so excited about the new technology, right? 2.5 minutes left. We're doing well. So the triangle of best practice, again, the first thing is, if we want to change behavior, it's not a technology problem, it's a people problem. Approach it also this way. Who needs to do it, and what do they need to do? And from there you build. 2, get the feedback, identify where those gaps are, just build a big list. And then on number 3, that continuous training. It's not a one-time communication. Our own organization, we're a scale-up, we're now 400 people, so sometimes we have the same thing that I have a colleague who says, yeah, I posted the message on Slack, so I have enabled the team. I'm like, yeah, no, you send a message, right? It needs to have more body to it. But again, these are still 3 big pieces to actually get in place, not something easy you can do in one day, right? So what are some of the things that you can start doing tomorrow? And number 1, start talking, thinking, breathing business impact. Stop talking about filling roles. And this is not just if you want to have a good story. You need to follow the process because it's the process. No, we want to help you with hiring the right people exactly at the right time. And we want to learn and improve how well we do that. So this is why you need to follow the system, because then we can measure it. It's a different story. And that goes for actually everything that we want to do. We as recruiters are here to help the organization achieve its goals. We're not here to manage pipelines from Monday to Friday. Number 2, start identifying where and how people are using and not using your ATS. That's what I said. You can make a list. Sit next to a hiring manager. Look in your system. If all the candidates that are hired don't have feedback on them, or maybe you can directly see in the ATS, do they actually use the interview scheduling thing? So you can do some research yourself and sit next to people to understand how they do it. And think big, start small. Don't try to solve everything in one go, because then we're going to go to one person. You do this wrong, this wrong, this wrong, this wrong. It's not going to help. So choose the things that are most important to you. If, for example, they don't put feedback in the system, but the candidate list is in there, fine, the data is good. But if the agency hires are going outside of the system, that is where I should start. Go into make sure that everything flows through the system. And the last one, as I said, start with a recruiter training on your own ATS. at least once a year. Because then at least you have an entire community that is, again, refreshed on the processes and the best practices. So whatever I'm going to communicate, at least I have a team of people who also do the same. Makes my life easier. And that's it. Exactly at 0. Thank you.